Cynthia Monteleone. Xenoestrogens are endocrine-disrupting toxins that must be eliminated for optimal health and performance.
There's a lot of endocrine disrupting chemicals in our environment, and this is another aspect that you work with your athletes on. You shared a really cool story about, I think it was the wrestling client, I could be off, but they were rooming together, traveling for an event, and there was a scented candle, and you were getting a text message like, hey, my roommate has a scented candle, what do I do? And I think this is such a great point because we have candles, we have skin products, we have sunscreen, we have makeup, like there's so many of these.
When I do the metabolic analysis in person, one of the sites that I measure is the back of the hamstrings, and that tends to tell me how many xenoestrogens the person is carrying. So I can tell right away if they can't detoxify or if they're just inundating themselves with perfumes and hairsprays and all kind of lotions, that kind of thing. It shows up in the back of the hamstring.
Wow.
And so this particular client had that issue. And so we worked with her. She went from 18% body fat to 12% body fat within 2 months, just by eliminating all the beauty products in her house and switching to coconut oil, organic coconut oil for lotion instead of lotion. No perfumes, no scented anything. So she had really worked hard to get there. And as we know, I think you probably know, the best athletic performance happens for women between 12, you can go down to 11, sometimes 10, but 12 to 15% body fat.
Wow.
And for men, it's 6 to 10%. So this is the optimal window for athletic performance. So the fact that she went from 18 to 12 to 13, her performance just skyrocketed in those 8 weeks. So she had gotten to the World Championships in Doha, and she's texting me, what do I do? My roommate just bought a scented candle, and and I said, you gotta tell her to get rid of it. Tell her I said so, whatever it is. So she said, listen, like she tried to explain it, and the roommate said, hey, you've been killing it. You've been doing so well. Absolutely, I'll get rid of it. And not only did my client have a personal best at that meet, but her roommate did too.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm not saying it's because she got rid of the scented candle, but maybe that helped a little bit. All of those toxins are just making our body work harder to get rid of them. And we could be using that energy for other things like being happy, sleeping better,
Such a good point.
Sharing our passion with others. So you want people when they're fatigued or they don't have that energy, a lot of times these endocrine disruptors are to blame, and they're just making their hormones totally out of whack. So I have them eliminate anything scented. They are not allowed to have air fresheners. Essential oils occasionally are fine, but not to overdo it. Sometimes people diffuse them all night long while they sleep, and I don't think that's beneficial personally from my experience. I tell them to maybe choose to live in a place that's not polluted if they live in a polluted city.
Hair products, lotions, perfumes, all of that. All sorts of skin products have these compounds.
And not only that, but it gets in the DNA code. And then future generations, they have children, they already are predisposed to carry weight there because they have lived in a toxic environment.
Endocrine disrupting chemicals include scented candles, skin products, sunscreen, makeup. Cynthia does a metabolic analysis in person. She checks the back of the hamstrings. How many xenoestrogens? Can they detoxify? An example client had this issue. She went from 18% to 12% body fat in 2 months by switching to coconut oil. Cynthia reminds us that in terms of body fat, the best athletic performance for women is between 12 and 15%. For men, it's between 6 and 10%. Those endocrine disruptor toxins, they make our bodies work harder than needed. Often when we're fatigued, these make our hormones out of whack. Cynthia has her clients eliminate the following things. Anything scented, especially air fresheners. For essential oils, she says to be careful. And she says, where possible, move from a polluted environment. She reminds us that these endocrine disruptor toxins get into our DNA and affect our posterity.